Hello there, YouTubes. Now, today I was going to do a sort of more funny, light-hearted video, but fuck that noise. A news story popped up, and I've been asked about it by a number of people from all around the world, even though it's a sort of geographically specific British thing. But before you get clicking away from the video thinking, oh, it's just British politics, there is a wider point. So stick with me if you're interested in matters of race relations and so on, which I presume if you're subscribed to me, you probably are. Right. Now, this story revolves around two major characters. And I'll, if I can do a screen share thing, I will be showing you who the fuck these people are. Full screen. Right. Share screen. Are we sharing the screen? I don't know. Present to everyone. Right. Okay. There's this character who is there's Naz Shah, who is the Labour MP for Bradford West, and there's this gormless twat, Ken Livingstone, who's a former Labour MP and former Mayor of London, in fact. Now, I'll take you through briefly Naz Shah's contribution to this story, which is pretty fucking disgusting. This all revolves around anti-Semitism, and more specifically anti-Semitism on the left of British politics, which is something of deep concern to me. News came out on Tuesday, in fact, so a couple of days ago, that Miss Shah had, or Mrs. Shah, I don't know if she's married, and who fucking cares, it's not relevant. Right, she wrote a Facebook post arguing that Israel's population should be transported out of the Middle East to America. And said, quote, problem solved and save you bank charges for the $3 billion you transfer yearly. Yeah, which is at the very least incredibly distasteful. She then compared them to the Nazis, not for the first or last time, it seems. She then going on about the Jews are rallying. This was all back in 2014. She went on these fucking tirades of anti-Semitic fucking nonsense. All really, really fucking disgusting, right? That one isn't really that relevant. Although I've left links to both of the articles I'll be looking at below, so you can go and check out the full things. Where are we? Yeah, right. She wrote for the Jewish News an article saying that her previous statements had been foolish, right? I'll show you the apology in a moment because it's relevant in a second. But there's this one thing down the bottom here. Now, it's a BuzzFeed article, okay? So take it with a very, very healthy, or I suppose more appropriately, a very, very unhealthy pinch of salt. But BuzzFeed claims to have seen a draft statement of the original article she had written for the Jewish News, which she sent to the party hierarchy for approval. Now, it seems that they've changed that to try and hide anti-Semitism on the left. I'll read some of the things that they changed. Quote, I helped promote anti-Semitic tropes. This was totally wrong, unquote. Another line that was allegedly cut was a discussion of, quote, an intersectional struggle, one where the concerns of Jewish individuals and communities are taken seriously and anti-Semitism is not dismissed, out of hand, or ignored. We on the left must stop procrastinating and tackle oppression within our own ranks, especially anti-Jewish oppression, unquote. And they also changed the thing here where she said it was wrong to compare Israel with Nazi Germany. If that's true, and again, it's BuzzFeed, but if it gets corroborated by actually reliable sources, because fuck BuzzFeed, then that brings up very serious questions about the leadership of the Labour Party and how seriously they're taking this. And frankly, the continued possibility of them even remaining in charge. Because frankly, if they're prepared to fuck over the Jewish people of Britain in this way, I don't want them leading a party that's supposedly progressive. I don't want them anywhere near politics. Right now, yeah, and then Shah was suspended from the party. Right now, I'll briefly play you her. It's only 30 odd seconds long. I'll play you her apology in the House of Commons.
I accept and understand that the words I used caused upset and hurt to the Jewish community, and I deeply regret that. Anti-Semitism is racism, full stop. As an MP, I will do everything in my power to build relations between Muslims, Jews, and people of different faiths and none. I am grateful and very thankful for the support and advice I have received from many Jewish friends and colleagues, advice I intend to act upon. I truly regret what I did, and I sincerely hope that this House will accept my profound apology.
Now, by modern political standards, that's actually quite a fulsome and forthright apology. I still don't personally think it's enough for her to remain in post, as it were. Not that there's actually an official way you can get rid of an MP. It seems. I think is the recall law. Has that actually gone through? I'm not entirely sure what stage that's at. But she can have the Labour whip removed from her, which basically means she gets thrown out of the party. And I think that should happen. Even though I think that apology was, like I say, by modern political standards, quite good. It's not fucking good enough. Unfortunately, if you state fucked up anti-Semitic shit like that, you don't deserve to be in Parliament. Simple. Yeah, but I think that apology might well save her. Ken Livingstone, on the other hand, is a twat with a long history of twattishness, and waded in with nonsense, basically trying to defend what now Shah had said, even after she came out and said there was no defence of it and apologised for it. He's a twat, isn't he? Anyway, again, this article linked below. Oh, and by the way, yeah, Livingstone has been suspended as well now. It says, in radio interviews, Mr. Livingstone appeared to equate Zionists with Adolf Hitler. Right, there's no need for the word appeared there, or appeared to. He does equate that really directly. In the quote, you literally follow that nonsense with. Right, Livingstone said, quote, let's remember, when Hitler won his election in 1932, his policy was that Jews should be moved to Israel. He was supporting Zionism. This before he went mad and ended up killing 6 million Jews. Ay, ay, ay. There's so much wrong with that. Historically inaccurate in the sense that as if the moving to Israel bit was the only plan ever looked at all. Forgetting, of course, the most notably the Madagascar plan, where they were going to move them to what was the French colony, or they became German when they took over France, to export European Jews to Madagascar. But the thing that's more horrific about this is, of course, before he ended up going, or before he went mad, there was no point in which Hitler was like some sort of nice, calm dude, apart from possibly in his childhood or something. But as a politician, there was no point at which before he went mad. There was no before he went fucking mad and ended up killing 6 million. He stumbled into it. Yeah. Many's the time you just end up killing 6 million Jews. I mean, it wouldn't be a Friday night without that, would it? It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. And thankfully, he has been suspended for backing these statements up and saying that they were okay. And it's not just like he likes to say, the Blairites, those on the right of the party, they're doing it. It isn't right, is it, Rob? Even Mr. Livingstone's allies deserted him, with the chairman of the Momentum group of Corbyn supporters. So people on the left of the party era, John Landsman, saying that, quote, a period of silence from Ken Livingstone is overdue, especially on anti-Semitism, racism, and Zionism. Unquote. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And there's lots more there, some interesting stuff. Now, as much as Livingstone has come out and said, I'm not an anti-Semite, I hate anti-Semitism. You do have to question that, given the fact that his previous palling around with Holocaust deniers like Hugo Chavez. And yes, I'm a quote-unquote leftist, I should say. having a go at Hugo Chavez because, you know, I have a semblance of principle. So yeah, fuck Ken Livingstone so hard. And also fuck Naz Shah. At least she apologized, but frankly, that isn't fucking good enough. Where the fuck are we? Right, hang on a second. I will get better technically. No, I won't, because I fucking won't. Right, and I'm back in the room. Hello. Yeah, the wider point though, and is that, and it's a point I've brought up before. We mustn't allow, we on the left, I'm talking about, we mustn't allow, I think, absolutely honest and genuine and indeed beautiful attempt to try and defend the much maligned large majority of Muslims who are peaceful in the world. Because they are facing persecution. It's growing across Europe. We mustn't allow our defense of Muslims to be at the cost of Jewish people. We mustn't allow our defense of peaceful, decent, honest, tolerant, inclusive Muslims to allow anti-Semitism to sneak under the radar. We mustn't allow criticism of Israeli government policy and Israeli army actions and the Israeli Defense Force actions to allow anti-Semitism to sneak in. And it's not. This isn't just a problem in Britain. This is a problem across certainly the Western world. The left, all too often, unfortunately, has allowed that kind of creeping anti-Semitism to come into its discourse, and that's why I made mention of the Labour hierarchy changing the original post to try and try and remove criticism from the left for not tackling this problem, because unfortunately it is a problem. It's a problem that Jeremy Corbyn has had, that he is, at least in some senses, been trying to deal with. It's a problem that I think a lot of the critics of Israel, of which I very much count myself one. It's not an issue I talk about often, because frankly, the Israel-Palestine conflict, there's no constructive dialogue to be had with virtually anyone. It seems like an absolutely fruitless thing to talk about. But ultimately, if you're going to talk about it, do not conflate Zionism with all Jewish people. Do not conflate the actions of the Israeli Defense Forces with Jewish people, or with Judaism. In fact, those things are not synonymous. We mustn't allow our defense, I think our righteous defense of peaceful Muslims, to be at the expense of Jewish people, especially given that in Britain, Jewish people are faced much more entrenched and indeed far more fucking dangerous, deep-rooted prejudice throughout history here in Britain, in a way that Muslims just have not. So that's my basic message. Fuck Ken Livingstone, fuck Naz Shah, and frankly, the way that the Labour hierarchy have dealt with this, fuck them too. Anti-Semitism, Nazi apologism has no fucking place in any just society, and I consider 21st century Britain to be, at least should be seeking to be, a just society. So we need to stamp it out. Thank you all for listening and watching. Any thoughts, leave them in the comments section. Like I say, both articles are linked there. They're both very interesting reads if you want to go have a look. Thank you all for listening and watching. Pip pip.